So are she the Chicago City Classic basketball stuff?
Close your eyes. Now imagine you're going to give a talk. You're going to give a speech. What does that look like? Can you picture the audience? Can you picture the setting? The room that you might be in? The noise? Just when you're about to speak? Is it quiet? Okay. Don't forget that. Now open your eyes. I experienced my first talk to over 100 athletes about 2 weekends ago. Now, don't forget the image that you had in your head about your speech. I can guarantee you that my experience was completely different than what you imagined. Let me tell you why. Waukegan, Illinois is where I had my first talk to over 100 athletes. So basically, I knew I had to find a gentleman named Braden. I walk into Waukegan Fieldhouse, and before that, I prepare. Got there early, did my ritual before I speak. So every time I speak, I don't know if you've ever have heard of this technique, but if you go like this for 2 minutes, or if you go like this for 2 minutes, it sends natural, I think, endorphins into your body, and it gives you, I think, testosterone. I'm not a scientist or anything, but it gives you testosterone and gives you the confidence to speak, regardless if it's an interview or a talk or anything where you have to give on authority or obviously do a speech. So basically, I walk into the field house, but I can't find this guy named Braden. I'm supposed to talk to Braden because Braden's going to set me up for my talk. So I didn't get a chance to do this. So that was my first uh-oh moment. So basically, I walk into the field house looking for Braden. I look upstairs. There's 2 floors to this field house. I look downstairs. I have a moment to use the restroom. I look into the room where the club coaches are. I look into the room where the college coaches are. I look into the room where all the athletes are before they prepare, and I can't find Braden. Now this is about 6:30. I'm supposed to talk to all the athletes at 6:40. So I'm starting to get a little nervous. My hands are getting a little sweaty. And luckily, literally on my last attempt to circle the building, I find Braden. Braden goes, "Great, so glad to meet you. Are you ready?" And I'm like, "Yes, I guess I am." So he tells me, "Okay, you can give your talk, but you also need to do the NCAA lecture." Now, the thing about this event, it's an NCAA certified event. So basically, the event needs to comply with the NCAA, and a lecture needs to be given to the athletes about what they can and cannot do to get recruited to college. So the vendor, which I was giving my speech, gets the luxury to give their information to the athletes, but you have to give the NCAA lecture too. NCAA lecture. I haven't seen it before. I knew I was going to receive the information, a one-pager, he said in the email, 1 page, right before the event. So I knew that was coming. However, when he handed me the sheet, I looked at this sheet. Now, when you imagine 1-page document, you're like, okay, well, that's about, maybe 2 minutes of reading through, maybe some bullet points. The page was filled, every single line, in 10-point font. I was speechless, basically, and I told Braden, said, "Braden, do you expect me to read all of this to the students? I mean, they're not going to pay attention." And he told me, "Oh, it's okay, just, scan through, just give a couple points, just do every other bullet point." I go, okay, well, see, time to be flexible, time to adjust. So he gathers all the girls from 2 courts. Now the Waukegan Fieldhouse is a 6-court facility. So basically there's a showcase going on, right? So there's 6 games. He gathers 2 courts, so 2 games in, all the athletes from those courts get together. Just to give you the size of the event, it's 380 teams. 380 teams times about 10 players, so that's 3,800. Now let's say times, their parents, times another maybe 10 for all the people who aren't there to see that team. Now we're at more like 38,000 people. So basically, those 2 courts is about 100 athletes or more, plus their parents, plus their coaches. And the NCAA coaches are actually on the upper track level. But to my surprise, I was only going to talk to those 2 courts. The other 4 courts, those games are going on. They're playing, the refs are whistling, the parents are yelling, the coach is yelling, the balls are being dribbled against the floor. You hear the rumbling of the feet going up and down the court. So Brayden sets me up and says, okay everyone, this is Lindsey. She's going to tell you about what she's doing. Good luck. And basically just leaves me. So luckily all the athletes are very polite and they circle around me, probably where you are right now. And I know it's loud behind me. It's going to be impossible to get my talk across. So I look at the sheet and I go, okay everyone, I'm going to tell you about the NCAA. They can't hear me. Okay everyone, I will tell you about the NCAA. I knew I had to project my voice. I was a point guard in college, so I had to call out plays and there was a full stadium, so I know how to project my voice. But I didn't think I had to project my voice for 10 minutes straight with a whole talk. So basically, I find myself screaming at the top of my lungs at these athletes to the point where I thought my vocal cords were going to burst. So luckily, I get the idea to tell them, everybody just scoot in. So all the athletes are around me, probably this diameter, and I can't really move. So I go down the sheet, I give the NCAA lecture, I hit every point, and then I also, it's time for my speech, and I'm ready. Because of Toastmasters, I'm ready. I practiced, I got feedback, and I had to adjust. I practiced, I got feedback, and I had to adjust, so I was ready to adjust. So I screamed my talk. Half of them probably heard it to the top of my lungs, but I got it out. And that was Friday's talk. I did the same thing Saturday, but luckily Saturday, it was in the morning and there were no games going on, so I had the whole, field house to myself. So basically I was able to give that talk without 4 other games going on, and I imagine that the scene that you thought of when you closed your eyes in the beginning, turn it on your head and then give that talk. But guess what? You're prepared because Toastmasters, just like we do every Wednesday, allows us to practice, get feedback, and adjust. So you will be okay if that ever happens to you.